Yeah, Bruce will not be here. Just testing the mic. I thought I heard an echo. How does it sound to you? You're hearing an echo?
Echo,
Echo.
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 Does everybody that has a computer, is it all muted? Or I'm not muted, volume turned off?
Where's the volume?
Let me just, these shouldn't have any volume.
These don't have volume on.
Abby, I haven't logged in. Do you anticipate, or does anybody anticipate that I should log in for the minutes, for writing motions? I don't think so.
Need,
There's at least one participant on the Zoom. Then I see.
all right,
Okay.
does it sound okay? Testing,
Little bit of an echo.
testing the sound. Okay. Just
It
sounds
does
good.
sound like a lot of feedback and
Loud.
reverb here.
Maybe I'll just move it further away. There we go.
Okay, it's 7 o'clock, actually past 7 o'clock, so I'll open the February 25th meeting of the Middleton Plan Commission. First item is roll call.
Adams.
Here.
Harp.
Here.
Paniro. Here. Paulson.
Here.
Summers. Here. And Chair Sonntag is present. Bruce is absent and excused.
Okay, it's the point in the meeting where we take comments from the public. You have a 3-minute limit.
Mhm.
Is anybody here?
Well, the agenda says public hearings, but we don't have any public hearings.
Oh, I'm sorry, public hearings, yeah.
We
It's-
should have deleted that,
Yeah.
headline. My apologies.
Well, don't we take comments usually?
No,
At the
not
beginning of the
unless we
meeting?
have a hearing,
Not here?
just at council.
Okay. Approval of minutes, any changes, additions, deletions? Seeing none, I'll declare that the minutes are approved. And first item on our agenda is the sign design review for the Pinehurst Community or Commercial Development sign. Is there a motion before we take discussion?
Can someone pull up the,
I move to approve the sign design.
I don't know, I didn't know what the staff recommended. I'll second. I didn't know what the staff recommended.
Any discussion?
Is that man gonna stand there the whole time of the sign?
The Hollow Man?
Yeah, I see. Yeah.
Okay, hearing nothing else, I guess, on the second, all in favor?
I
Opposed? Motion carries. Second item is the sign design review for Tabby and Jack's. Is there a motion?
I would make a motion to deny the sign and graphics as submitted, instead requiring the applicant to submit design plans that adhere to the amount allowed in figure 22.11, paragraph 2 of the sign code.
Is there a second?
second.
Okay, discussion.
Can you,
The applicant is here.
the applicant is here.
Okay,
Should we,
Can I speak?
certainly, yeah, if you want to, go ahead. Come on up to the mic.
So I'm recommending we wrap the window on just on the west side of the building. Currently, we're having a lot of sun damage to our product. We're a pet store and we carry a lot of food and products and very colorful toys that are getting ruined from the sun. I don't recommend changing anything in the front facade, so I could leave that completely open because there's no sun on that because that's north facing. But I mean, and I did print out a copy of a picture of what it currently looks like right now, which is my shelving up against the window with cat litter in the window, which looks horrible, actually.
the north facing side is along University, right? The
Right.
west side along.
Right,
Park.
and I'm
Okay.
fine with leaving those windows completely open. It's just the side of the building that's west facing, where the sun comes directly in especially in the summertime. So I'm not allowed to put anything, I can't put anything in that window except for ugly cat litter. And so that's what it looks like right now. And so I'm just trying to improve the look of the building, by wrapping those windows, with cute little pictures of doggies and kitties. I mean, this is what we have, laid out. I mean, we can change the plan a little bit if you don't like this graphic, but, it's just those 4 windows on the side of the
So
building.
your intent is to shade your
It's just,
stuff, basically.
correct. And there's no other option to display anything that's gonna look good on that side of the building.
Can you get just like, oh, thank you. Can you get just shading that doesn't have like images and
We've
text on it?
tried that at other stores that had the sun beating down on it, but because the panes of the window have gas in the middle, the windows have cracked. So by putting a shade on the inside, it causes heat inside the window and it causes cracking.
Can you put, there's window appliques on the outside that block sunlight, like darkening,
There,
right?
we had this issue at our Sun Prairie location. We've tried everything. I had, professional, people come out and look at it. There was nothing they can put on there other than wrapping it. What we had to do in Sun Prairie is we had to completely replace all the windows with like a different type of window that was tinted. And I just don't have the funding to do that. I can't replace the windows.
Okay. Yes.
I have no problem with the request. I mean, I don't know how many of you go in to the shopping center on this side. I do because I'll disclose that I take my dogs to be groomed there. As you can see, there's no sidewalk, so it's not like it's engaging pedestrians, and cars don't park there. So that's not, it's just a wall. And I think having shades on the inside would accomplish or could possibly accomplish the same thing. But then what's wrong if we're gonna have the shades drawn and covering that part of the window? Why not have some sort of, artwork that's a little more decorative on the outside? I don't know if we would need to grant a variance or if there's a way to figure in the entire, all of the window surfaces and conclude that the percentage taken up by these vinyl wraps is much less than, the 50%? It can go up to 50%.
Per facade.
Per facade, right. But I wonder if there's,
I just don't know how it's gonna look. I mean, if the windows, how they are now, they have like these smaller windows on the bottom and then the larger ones on the top. So I don't know how to even design. I had my graphic designer try to design
sure,
something that
yeah,
was
it would be
partial.
very difficult to.
It wasn't, it's just better just to
Can you
wrap the
pull back
whole
up the
thing.
design?
Otherwise, it's gonna look silly.
Go ahead.
Two things. Can you state your name for the minutes?
I'm sorry,
please?
it's Michelle Lonergan. I'm the owner of Tabby and Jack's.
Thank you. And then the second thing is the image that you're holding up is different than what was submitted for the packet.
Yeah, I saw that. I don't know. That was my sign guy submitted that. I don't know why he submitted that. I told him that I sent this to him. I don't know how that one got on there.
So it looks like from what I can tell from here, the difference is what was officially submitted in the packet does not include the orange with the logos along the bottom
Correct.
panels. Is that the only difference?
That's the only difference. So it'd be 100% instead of what he recommended, which is like 75%. Otherwise, you just see the bottom of my cat litter shelves. So
Do you have copies of what you have in your hand?
I don't, I can pass
Can
this
you
around
pass
if it's
it
okay.
How's your name spelled?
It's Michelle with 2 L's, Michelle. Last name is Lonergan, Lonergan.
Thank you.
So,
Go ahead. Have you had product loss due to the sun damage?
Oh, yeah. I mean, at one point we had cat treats over in that area and so many of them went moldy because of the heat in the bags. We had to throw them away. And that's why we finally had to put shelves up against the window and use cat litter. But we have some cat litter that's made out of corn. So
Mhm.
then that worries us.
So we really want to help you and support your business. And I'm sympathetic to the argument that this doesn't really adjoin a sidewalk or a parking lot. But can staff give us a little reminder as to why you recommend denying, particularly what the sign code is supposed to? Because my understanding is we've had this problem before where we're trying to limit the amount of commercial signage just to a sign that indicates what the store is, because otherwise you get this kind of Times Square proliferation
Yeah.
of, and we had to fight with, what was the wellness store over on,
Oh.
in Middleton Hills, where he didn't put it on the sign, he just put it on like a banner and then pulled it down, and then, so the purpose is to avoid the kind of proliferation of too much text, right?
Yes, that some of the examples that you might think of around the city may have been violations that we were working,
Yes.
if there was a complaint.
So if a store owner put in just images, like images of two pets, right? Would that count as a sign? It's only a sign if it has a letter on it, right? I know we're getting into semantics about, is it a sign or is it artwork on the side of, a building or something? It's.
I had the same
Mark?
issue in my Verona store
Yeah.
and they approved it because they didn't find that so that's a good point. Because they approved it because they're, and same issue. My location in Verona is just wrapped in glass. So I had to wrap a lot of those windows, but they approved it because they didn't consider it a sign because of the lack of lettering.
My favorite example of that is Middleton Cycle used to have a big bicycle. I don't know if that's still in the building or not. I don't think it is because they redid the facade, but that was a good example of it kind of was integrated into the facade without advertising a specific business.
It's a logo, it's not a.
Well, it wasn't even a logo so much as it was just yeah.
It was art.
Architectural
It was art.
feature.
It was an architectural feature. So there's a gray area. Our ordinance does define a sign. Any product that's used to advertise, identify, display, direct, or attract attention to an object, person, institution, organization, business, product, etc., by any means, including words, letters, figures, designs, logos, symbols, fixtures, colors, illumination, or projected images.
So images of dogs would indicate pet store.
But there is, for the purposes of this chapter, the following are not signs. And then we have artworks included but not limited to wall murals and statues, which do not contain a commercial message or logo or branding. So there's a bit of a gray area.
You didn't vote, you just.
So like a picture of a pet could be considered, artwork, but if it's a logo of a dog that is a product, you know what I'm talking about? A product logo that happens to be a dog,
Yeah.
that could be considered a sign. It's like these, these are pictures of pets, right? So they're not a product
Yeah.
logo. Therefore, well, yeah, the two in the middle might be considered product, but if you would put,
That's so they can-
a guinea pig and, a rabbit, pet rabbit in there instead,
Yeah.
by the letter of the ordinance, would that not be considered a sign?
Yeah. So if I read the staff comments correctly, it says the code allows up to 25% to be covered, 50% by approval of the plan commission. So that's a ordinance that specifies what we're allowed to permit up to. But is this part of the code where the plan commission can just approve a waiver anyway, or does the 50% kind of bind our hand? Because you're asking for, I think, 100%
Correct.
of this facade.
Kurt, they have to file for a variance, excuse me.
They'd have to file for a variance.
We can, I would suggest we move ahead with the vote on
Well,
this denial and ask them to come back for a variance.
I just want staff to explain, figure 22.11.2. Is that in our zoning ordinance or is that in
Sign
our
ordinance.
site? It's our what?
Sign.
Sign ordinance. So is that zoning or is that like design standards? Does it need a variance or can we give a waiver? That's what I'm asking. Because a variance is a procedure before the zoning board, a waiver is something we can do.
I think part of the sign, since it is a separate ordinance, I believe in the ordinance, it talks about requiring for a sign variance, but I believe sign variances are heard by plan commission.
Do you want to comment on that, Abby?
That's my understanding as well. I was just gonna try to go to the section.
Can I
But-
ask about, while you're looking that up, Abby, can I ask about the picture? So if all four of the top panels turn into just pictures of animals, of pets, and then the bottom parts of the window have the text, that, those bottoms would be the signs then technically? Staff? We
Mark?
could consider the top to be art
I think they're.
as long as there's no
Well, I'll defer to
advertising?
Daphne, she did the comments. But I mean, I'm here as a resource.
Yeah, I think as long as, if plan commission makes a determination that, if it's just animals and that doesn't constitute as signage, I think that's definitely something that plan commission can make that decision on. And then if it's just the bottom, that's, text with, product and all of that. Then yeah, I think it's up to plan commission to decide on that.
And do we know what the dimensions are of that bottom part of the window compared to the rest? I see
I think it's about a third.
about a third, so that's technically above the 25%. So we'd have to.
But we could approve that,
Yep.
so. So I agree with Kurt that we should deny the current application because we can only look at what's in front of us and ask you to,
I'd ask staff just to approve whatever they bring back, if
if
it's what we talked about.
If it complies with the code.
Right.
okay, then I have to amend my motion. So, right? Lisa?
Yes, and it can be accepted. The changes you suggest can be accepted without objection by the chair.
So actually, I'm gonna just withdraw my motion.
Can't do
I
that.
can't do that. Okay. So I would move to amend my motion that after the phrase, figure 21.11.2 of the sign code to add, staff shall approve, how do we want to say it? Mark, do you have a way of saying it that helps you understand that if it's plan commission determines that if the top panels are pictures of pets and can we take the paper that she sent us? Does that have?
Yeah, but these would have to change, the middle two would have to change to just. So I guess I would ask the applicant, do you mind coming back in a
So,
couple weeks with the different?
No, if I can have some clarification. So the top, what you're asking is the top third be more of a mural? And
No,
then the
no
bottom-
words.
No words.
No
Right,
words,
okay,
just
so and then the
pets.
bottom, you can have signage down there,
Yes.
technically. So I could put the logos down there maybe?
Yeah.
Okay,
I'd be fine with having her not have to come back if she submits something that,
I can
would
rework
too.
it up. I don't have a problem with
yeah.
that.
That it could
Well, that's
just
why
be
I said
approved as
staff.
Okay, so we can authorize the staff to approve
Yep.
the
Yes.
design.
So
that-
authorize staff to approve a design where the top top larger panel is pictures only, no words. And the bottom panel allowing words as shown in the applicant's
Submittal.
revised submission. We'll call this a revised submission. Does that?
Can we hear the motion?
So it'd be to deny the design and graphics package as submitted. And then
I think you can keep all that, Kurt, is what I heard you say.
Yeah.
To
And then-
resubmit design plans for review by staff for approval by staff, as long as it's in compliance with the sign code or something like that.
But it's.
Yes,
But
but
if it's
the-
a third of the window, it won't be in compliance.
more than
unless-
25%.
I mean, we can say that's fine.
Yeah.
But it's got to be, I think it should be
It should be a
stated in
motion,
there
yeah.
that Did we
Basically,
do-
if you produce this, but without the words in the top panel, I think we're fine. So how do we write that in a motion so that it's just clear to staff who has to approve this?
Have we determined if this would be a waiver or a variance? Because the table just says window signage area maximums may be exceeded up to 50% total per window or per facade with approval by the plan commission.
I mean, I think you can just say like instead require applicant to resubmit the design plans, provided that the, up to, 50% of the bottom windows,
Of the bottom
Are-
panels,
the bottom panels can be, text or logo, and the top larger panels are only
Pictures.
pictures,
pictures.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think the original
Something like
motion
that.
covers what you're trying to do. The question I have is, are you trying to prevent them from coming back to the plan commission again? Is that your
Yes.
objective?
We're trying to
That's
say
your
that.
objective, then I think it's a little difficult with how the ordinance reads because it says for review by the plan commission. So maybe what you're trying to say, Commissioner Paulson, is you're trying to add a sentence that says,
Subject.
We just reviewed it and we're
Yeah.
approving up to
Yeah.
that
okay,
level. So
I
that
see
she
what you're trying to do.
just submit the plans, gets the permit. We don't have to
All right.
wait.
The plan, so maybe you're adding a sentence, then the plan commission accepts a revised design that is, that's for the bottom as you just described.
Where the bottom
Yeah.
panel is text.
We accept the motion as amended.
Someone has to second the amendment.
I need to hear it again.
Mark, can you read it exactly as
Somebody
it's?
trails off with makes me
Should have just logged it.
Yeah.
the best wording.
The plan commission accepts a design revision that limits signage to the bottom panels with the understanding that this covers less than 50%. How does that read? Covers less than 50% of the total window area.
Everybody good with that?
The upper panels shall be limited to artwork,
Or pictures.
Photograph.
shall be limited to,
It might take less time to just have her come back. We'll still be here.
Well, if everybody's good
I
at
mean,
that.
I want to say only dogs, no cats.
I
but-
need to. Mark, can you read it one more
Sure.
time?
So the amendment from Commissioner Paulson, I think, as he eloquently stated it, was the commission accepts a design revision that limits signage to the bottom panels with the understanding that they cover less than 50% of the total window area. The upper panels shall be limited to images that don't contain signage. Isn't that what you said, Kurt?
Sounds about right.
Summers will second.
All right, we do have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Hi.
Opposed? Motion carries.
So
Thank
just
you.
To clarify for the minutes and what Commissioner Alder Hanero said, was that an amendment to the motion that you voted on, or was that accepted as an amendment or needed to vote on?
We had to vote on the amendment. Now we
That
have to
was-
vote on the main motion again.
Well, that's,
I think it was wasn't it a
Substitute,
substitute
okay.
motion?
There we go.
okay.
Right, this is a substitute.
Don't have to go back to the original.
So should I submit the final to staff then?
Yeah.
Or to who should I submit that to?
You can send it to me directly.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Yes,
here, I'll write down my.
perfect. Thank you.
And she'll just approve your permit.
Well,
Okay.
and may I ask a question about that, Mr. Chair? Because I'm looking at the table, the figure 22.11.2, and it says sign permit not required for a window sign. But does that mean if it's in compliance with everything and you don't have to get a waiver? Or? Because that.
You still have to go through design review, which is in the commercial district, right?
That's what I'm wondering. Because that tripped me up when I was like, wait a minute, the first thing you see is.
We
sign
have a
permit
new
not-
ordinance and sign code, so we're a little unfamiliar with it too, so.
Well, and as the person who worked with the lead staff person who worked with our consultant on this, I don't believe there's anywhere else in the ordinance other than this footnote where there's a reference to waivers. I think this was simply so in other words, it's not like the waiver concept that's in Article 7 of the zoning ordinance, which you've addressed previously.
Yeah.
So whatever you want to call it, I guess, this is not a variance you're granting. This is basically, it's essentially a waiver. So it's basically giving them permission on a design review basis.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to answer the question based on how the ordinance is written.
The word waiver does not appear
Right.
in the sign code.
Right.
Right.
I swear.
Yeah, like I said,
But it
I was
says
just confused
to.
because they're asking for, I mean, this isn't a permit, a sign permit application. It's a plan commission application. And our ordinance says a sign permit isn't required. So,
But a sign permit is different than design review by the plan commission.
Okay.
And that is something that we may propose a change in that area in the future so
Okay.
that there's fewer designs that come here. But that's another matter for another time.
So
Okay.
once the plan commission approves this sign, she does not need to submit for a permit.
If I'm sorry, I've been out of the office, so I don't have this all.
Stephanie, is that right?
I think that's right. And I mean, she'll still have to send us the final plans so that we can look it over as per the motion.
Still need staff final approval.
Right, yeah, but we just won't issue a permit for it.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Let's move on to item 3, specific implementation plan modification for a sign design review for Crownstone, Horizon, and Make-A-Wish. Is there a motion?
I will just add that we did receive the landlord approval, except the landlord just said that they would not have an internally lit illuminated sign. It would be, on Middleton Center, they all have those gooseneck lights hanging down above it, so they would do that instead. But otherwise, all of the other signage would remain the same.
Okay.
I'll move approval of the signs contingent upon landlord approval for the illumination and signs.
Is there a second?
Adams will second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor?
I,
Opposed? Motion carries.
A lot of sign reviews.
I was gonna say that, that was the fastest one yet. Item 4 is the site plan review for Frank's Beverage expansion.
Before we get started on this item, I just wanted to note that Commissioner Summers is abstaining.
Okay, thank you. Fairly straightforward. Is there, in terms of the recommendation, is there a motion?
We have to make a motion before we discuss, right?
That's right.
Steve Schulfer from Sketchworks Architecture is here.
Is there a motion?
Anyone want to make a motion?
Well, Chair will make a motion.
Otherwise, I'll just read it here.
May
I-
I just,
Well, we have to make a motion first.
before okay.
Okay.
I'm
Before
sorry.
we discuss.
So I would move that we grant the 3 waivers related to exterior design standards and approve the site plan review contingent upon 1, revised exterior elevations for any exterior design standards not I guess
We can
strike that.
strike.
Since I'm saying that we are approving the 3 waivers. So renumber, 1, approval of the stormwater management plan by the city engineer. 2, approval of the access and site layout by public safety, fire, EMS, police. 3, include 2 additional ADA parking stalls for a total of 5 stalls in compliance with state statute and the number of employees in the largest shift to determine minimum parking stalls required. 4, screening of any exterior mechanical equipment not shown on the plans. And 5, resolution of engineering staff comments to the satisfaction of the city engineer.
Is there a second?
Adams will second.
Discussion,
Steve, you were going to say something.
you're on.
Yeah, I was just gonna request that with regards to screening the mechanical equipment, there will be some smaller rooftop equipment that will be located towards the center of the roof. And I would just request that We not need to screen those physically with a screen wall, but rather just make them non-visible from the street.
Are they low enough that you won't see them?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, so, and Daphne, you wrote the staff comments. Normally when we screen exterior mechanical equipment, that's ground placed, right? Not necessarily.
Yeah, there've been some apartment buildings that will have, air conditioning units at the top, and so they'll have like a higher kind of
Parapet wall.
parapet, yeah, that will
Mhm.
screen it, but yeah, I think, if it's not visible from the street level, we usually don't have any issues with that.
And we don't have an actual perspective view of what the building would look like, right? Just a site plan.
Correct. In the submittal package, it's
In the
just a
submittal.
site plan and and an elevation. But
So then I would make a motion to revise criteria number 4, saying screening of any ground-placed exterior mechanical equipment not shown on the plans, and screening of any rooftop mechanical equipment that is visible from the street. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's a motion to amend the motion?
Motion to amend the motion, I guess, since we can't do friendly amendments anymore.
Why?
You can, the chair just needs to accept them without
Yeah.
objection.
So I'd make that as a friendly
Really, we did
amendment.
friendly motions all the time.
Friendly
There's
amendment.
no friendly amendment.
I know. I know.
But the chair can say without objection.
Without objection.
So what does it say now?
So that condition
Screening-
number 4 would say, Mark, can you read what I said? Or do you want to say it again?
I have it here. It's screening of any ground place exterior mechanical equipment not shown on the plans and screening of any rooftop mechanical that is visible from the street. So if
Steve,
it's
is
not visible from the street, it's not required to be screened.
correct.
Does that sound okay?
She typed faster than me. Thank you.
I use my pen.
She was old school.
Oh,
And the main reason we made a motion to grant these waivers on design is given the architectural context of the neighboring properties. We're not super concerned about
Right.
the visual aesthetics.
Mhm.
Not that
Because
we
of some
don't
of
love the
those-
visual aesthetics of the beer trucks, but that's a different.
Yes, Lisa.
Can I ask about the waivers? And why I understand why we are being asked to grant a waiver, but I don't understand why, 15% of the facade being composed of class 1 building materials, 15% is pretty low. So I'm wondering, we have these requirements in our ordinance, why would we waive them without at least asking? I guess I'm channeling Commissioner Bruce, who would be saying, I'd like some articulation, this isn't enough here. So can you just address why the 15% of the facade composed of class 1 building materials, changes in color or texture? That doesn't seem like it would be too burdensome. And then I guess the facade lengths not being greater than 100 feet, that might be a little more difficult, but.
Yeah, so let me knock out the 100-foot one, which is, you're absolutely right, that that would be difficult just because of the series of loading and shipping docks that Frank is required to have in order to meet these operational requirements, right? In terms of the building itself and the facade, we feel like it's a concrete tilt-up panel, which is a pretty quality material in its own right. The office building is built out of concrete tilt-up panels as well. And so I think this is creating a cohesive front along the entire facade from south to north. I think as you look historically at the building additions and what Frank has done, they have gradually expanded and covered up some of the metal facade that's existed from the 70s and 80s. And I think they're creating a really nice product across the entire front. It doesn't undulate, it doesn't create the depth that I know some of the ordinance requirements are seeking, but I think from an operational perspective, this is the best solution. It is a series of loading docks. There will be trucks parked in front of it, no doubt. But in terms of the actual concrete tilt-up panels themselves, there will be rustication joints, horizontal joints across the panels that provide a little bit of reveal and interest, but it is an industrial building, at least this portion of it. The office is very attractive, and I think that's the part that stands out and projects more toward the street.
And the buildings that are adjacent to it are mostly
They're metal industrial.
metal industrial buildings, right? So there's not a lot of.
Yep.
And we have a similar building to this that fronts the highway. In the, I can't think of the name of the company that used to be there. It's on the corner of
Yeah.
Pinehurst and,
That used to be.
what was it?
No.
Oh, no, Highsight. Yeah, you're right, Highsight. So that was similar, docks.
The beer trucks parked are a form of artwork.
Yeah, but they have words.
Yeah, but they're mobile, so they're not signing.
Take that with a grain of salt.
Okay. No further discussion? I'll call the question. All in favor?
I,
Opposed? Motion carries. Takes us to item 5, Task Order 2501, Tax Incremental District Number 3, Engineering Support Services with Strand and Associates.
I move that we recommend approval to the Common Council in an amount not to exceed $50,000.
There's a second.
Adams will second.
Discussion? Can we get them lower? No, just kidding.
Yeah, these
Just so we have some
amendments
discussion.
didn't include rates because it goes back to the ongoing contract that the city has. And it's the same fee schedule that was approved in December of 2023. So it hasn't changed. And I can pull up the fee schedule if you'd like.
Sure.
Any further discussion? None? Okay, I'll call the question. All in favor?
I.
Aye.
Opposed?
Who was the second?
Adams.
Thank you.
Okay, that takes us to agenda item 6, Task Order 2502, Tax Incremental District Number 5, Engineering Support Services with Strand.
This is an IRO. I move that we recommend approval to the Common Council in an amount not to exceed $75,000.
Summers will second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. That takes us to adjournment. I will adjourn the meeting. And we have time to get to the basketball game. On TV anyway.
Last time, Mr. Chair, it only took us 25 minutes. But we didn't have technical